everyone. Welcome back. There's a little bit that I need to explain here because clearly if you only listen to this on podcast and you don't follow me on Twitter, which would be kind of strange that you randomly found this podcast. So I guess thanks for finding me in the depths of the podcast world. But clearly there has been a break in schedule. I said that we would go live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and I lied. I lied. I intentionally did not choose to lie. I thought that I could do it. And then I realized that when I had originally done podcasting in the past, that my life was way less complicated than it is now. And the responsibilities that I have in my job were way less also than as well. So one thing after another, personal things with my dog, life challenges, a whole mix of things basically brought me to the conclusion that I can't realistically do this podcast every week because life happens. But I still feel like it's an important podcast to do because I'd love to talk to the people that are involved in the Atlanta United community or just an MLS community in general. And I love to just hear stories and have legitimate conversations about things. So I still think it's an incredibly important podcast to do. And it's still something that I love doing, but I need to treat it not as my job because that's what I was doing. I was treating it like I would run content because that's what I do in my life. And the association with my job made it a little bit more stressful for me. So I'm trying to completely disassociate now. This is joy. This is what I love to do. This is who I am. I love talking to people. So now going forward, these are going to be a little less structured and I'm going to throw a little wrench in the system. I'm going to do it today. Anybody that's watching live, not immediately in the start of the podcast, but make sure to watch the friend zone and the live chat because I will drop a link in to the friend zone. And that will be a link where you guys can go on there and actually join us live. And we're going to have open communication and open conversations with the community because I think that's important. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest for today. I'm calling everybody friends because everybody's my friend, but my guest, Persy. It's been on the show multiple times. I'm so glad that you still decide to stick with me despite all of the shenanigans.
Anytime I get the text, I'm right there. Right?
A real husband material, Persy Herrera. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then Will, Mr. Capo himself, but also a budding novel writer. We're gonna cut through the noise. Let's talk about the book.
I was gonna say we could table that for later. This is your podcast, not my marketing material.
But that's you're the guest, and that's an important part of your life coming up. We need to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Kelly and Friends became, Will's book club.
You can plug all your stuff here.
Plug everything in. I'm just all about the plugs, Persy.
Yeah.
Are you? No, yeah. So I've been writing stories my entire life, and I've got a creative writing degree in undergrad, and that's why I eventually went back and got my MBA. But I've been working on this book since 2014. Originally it was going to be just one thing, and it's kind of evolved. But this is the first book in the series, and
I believe it took you that long. Jesus.
No, well, in the middle of let's see what happened. Got an MBA, had a baby. There's some things that took that time up a little bit, but it is. I've always been interested in how, oh Jesus, I know all. I've always been interested in like we see violence and we see like vigilante justice. This is like this cool thing in like fiction, and then in reality, it gets to be this kind of very dark and gray area, and that's honestly came up quite a bit last year. But it's a speculative fiction novel about vigilante justice. So it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I first wanted to write as a comic book and then turned into a novel. And now it's a series. And it's the first book's coming out June 7th. So.
All right. So the first book, Vigilant, is June 7th.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
You said you first started out as a comic book. That means there's got to be in some folder tucked away in your storage. Are there illustrations that'll never see the light of day?
There are a couple of illustrations. Yeah. Ooh. And it's funny because maybe one day I'll share those. Actually, that's a great thought. But
I want credit for that on the next book.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I got you. I'll change the acknowledgements last minute.
Insert the few couple. What is that technically called in a book? Because it's like the notes or the thank yous, like
acknowledgements.
Acknowledgements. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I worked with an illustrator for a couple months to see if that's the direction, and then wanted to just kind of flesh things out a little bit more. So, but yeah, wanted to just let it be a joint thing between I write and then you create what you see in your mind versus one directional. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's exciting. That's super exciting. So it's out
pumped.
June 7th. It will be available on ebooks and also paperback.
Yeah, paperback and hardback are going to be out June 7th. You can pre-order on Kindle now.
Okay.
So, and if you look up anywhere on my Twitter, Will Bowron, it's just at Will Bowron or W Bowron official. The link is everywhere. So yeah, but I appreciate. Yeah, give me the time, or you can just look at like go on Amazon and just look up Vigilant Will Bowron. So I appreciate you giving me some time to plug.
Of course. I mean, it's also been all over my feed. So I mean, I feel like it's.
You gotta pimp it somehow. You gotta push it, right?
Well, but the point of that though is that like you are a huge part of the Atlanta United community. Like you are. Don't make that face. You make that face, but you've been on more posters than I think anybody in the Atlanta United community. You are the poster child.
I feel like a new would like a word.
Yeah, that's true. But
no, she's right.
You are, somewhat of the face of this community. You are clearly at most games, even though now you live.
I live in Birmingham. Yeah, so it's a couple hours away. 2 hours. 2 hours.
And you still drive in, and that's highly respectable. And I mean, I think people, appreciate you for that. But you are a face.
There is a face attached to this body. Yes,
it's not that far. It's about the same distance I drive from Alpharetta down to the
honestly, dude, that was the first thing I told myself when we decided we were going to move. I was like, I can do this. It's like Macon to downtown. I can do it. It's the exact same amount of time, and it's a little tougher than I expected, but. It's funny because I've gone back and forth a little bit. Like, do I pull really far back? Do I keep going? And kind of ends up coming to like getting really like deep into thoughts because it's been something that's really been a huge part of my life for a long time. And still, Atlanta is familiar. So there's no stopping, right?
Have you seen yourself like developing or trying to make some connections to Birmingham to the Legion at all?
I've tried. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I got when we posted about Twitter for today, someone blew me up that I'm in a supporter group for Legion, and I've been to one game, and it's just not the same. They're like Louisville City in New Mexico, like they do a really good job in the USL of creating atmosphere and driving that. There's been so much disruption with the Legion. With 2019, they started and they did pretty well. They were at like a college campus. They had 10,000 capacity. And then in 2020, obviously everything happened. Then some stuff happened with their field. They like the team blasted the caretakers of the stadium like publicly about how poor the stadium was. So they moved this year to a new stadium in Birmingham, Protective Stadium, which is where the preseason game was between Atlanta United and Legion.
It's a very large stadium.
It's 47,000, which is, I mean, that's 17,000 bigger than the new Nashville Stadium. So it doesn't matter if you get 5,000, 10,000, you get 20,000, and it still feels small. So the energy it's just not the same. And it's very different, So I've tried a little bit, and there's an okay soccer scene in Birmingham, but it's just, it's not the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we do need to change course though, because while we talk about, other teams not necessarily having the greatest atmosphere, I mean, let's refer that to Atlanta United. I mean, there was a conversation and I know that I told everybody that's probably watching, they're wondering where Felipe is.
Where's Felipe?
Felipe's getting a haircut right now. So
no, he's not.
Why would he be getting a haircut right before the I mean,
he's afraid. He's afraid.
All that talking he does on Twitter, especially to you, Will, and then he's got the opportunity to come
What happened? Oh my god.
And he doesn't show
up. That's the whole reason I came on, man. What's the point? Oh boy.
So he's getting I believe it's his sister is graduating tomorrow, so he is getting the fresh cut for the
Likely story.
graduation.
Likely
Yes.
story. Yeah,
likely,
sure.
it's likely. Yeah, for sure. But, Felipe and Rachel did call out the supporter groups for what was a poor lack of attendance during a CONCACAF Champions League, not CONCACAF Champions League, but
Open
yes,
Cup.
Open Cup game.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to have any comments? Say any comments about that?
I think if you look across the league, I mean, CONCACAF has always been like, it's been a less attended. Not CONCACAF. I'm sorry, Open Cup. It's always been a less attended game. We had the Open Cup final, and even that we opened up just half the stadium, right? And then I don't even know if we sold that game out, right? Like in 2019.
I think we still got a pretty good attendance on that.
We did, but I don't know if that was when we were selling out regular, like Saturday games.
Yeah.
We'd sell them out 45,000, and
which is it's so sad that we can't do that anymore. It's like,
well,
I understand why we can't. That's a
whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing.
I think I think what Rachel and Felipe were saying is fair. Like, get up to Kennesaw and do the thing. It doesn't matter if it's Open Cup or not, but Open Cup's never really well attended across Atlanta or across other, teams in the league. I still have a massive problem with the fact that Atlanta United has one of the best stadiums in the world for soccer, and they're randomly picking Open Cup games to put in Kennesaw. Like, no issues with Kennesaw at all. Like, it's fine, whatever. But think about Alajuelense for CONCACAF Champions League. Think about Chattanooga. If those players had played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, that would have been like a career-defining moment for them to enjoy and be able to like think about the rest of their lives. Instead, for no reason that I'm aware of, no conflict, they were like, we're just going to default to doing all of our Open Cup games in Kennesaw.
Yeah, not this year at least. I know for a while it was the Monster Truck Jam.
Right, because that was they first started doing those.
With them, right? But
so I will say on like an event side, there is cost associated with putting on these events, and so there's a possibility with the want to keep budgets down that they choose to do a less expensive activation at a smaller field like Kennesaw, because in the bottom line of the budget, it makes more sense, because Mercedes is a beautiful stadium for sure, but it also costs to get people on and working the shifts at the concession stands, security, lights, power, all that stuff. So like,
but at the same time, there's a cost associated with that. But then you had, Arthur Blank, that I'm pretty sure he kept everyone on staff during COVID and was paying them their salary so they wouldn't lose their job. So if he can do that for a year I can't even imagine how many people are on staff. What, a couple hundred?
Sure.
Why can't he just eat the cost of? It's not like it'll be one or two games before like the bigger crowds start coming in. It's just something.
But not even that question. We have a free ticket, right? It's the extra ticket in our season ticket holder package. We get the 17 regular games plus one, whatever. If that's CONCACAF, Open Cup, they've said it's not going to be that. It's going to be this random one-off friendly cup game that they've talked about adding now.
The AmFam Cup.
Yeah, like that's their new.
No, but that's not even it though, because I paid for a ticket for that, I think.
Did you? I saw it and was like, "There's no way." But that's going to be at the Benz, and it's this random game, and they're like, "We're going to throw this at the Benz, and not one that's a standard competition." And I think that it's not fair to these teams that, like, not fair is not the right word. I don't think it's right to say you're lower league or you're a different division or you're from a different country. So we're going to put you in our second tier away stadium. It's an hour away to attract Atlanta United 2 fans. Like,
it's also not doing a good job to promote, let's say to the casual fan in Atlanta, it's not doing a good job to promote this international event, right?
And that's what so much of the MLS growth that they've talked about is all of the Latino or Latinx, depending on
it's Latino. Just say Latino.
But they've talked about that's like such an opportunity for growth, and for so long they were talking about the oh my gosh, the Mexican League, Liga MX. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And MLS doing this joint venture thing, and they decide we're going to stop with the Leagues Cup. But if you're not, if you're gonna, why focus on that and why drive that if you're not actually going to take into account the opportunity you already have that's right there with these games?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so Alex Basine comes in here and says, I wish people would have just said I didn't feel like going tonight, and that should have been it. Some made it sound like there were correct reasons for not going. So a lot of I mean, while we're talking about why it's not being played in a stadium like Mercedes-Benz when you have the opportunity to play there because it's where the team normally plays, a lot of it also came down to while Rachel said this is a terrible showing of like fans, and 100% the point is right also on marketing. I could also talk about marketing on other things like the game tonight in Seattle. I forgot it was happening until I saw like some random notification, because there's been no promotion of it, which is insane to me. Like I haven't seen any promotion for it.
Marshawn Lynch has done an amazing job promoting the hell out.
I completely agree. That the stuff they put out with him was
the video,
I wouldn't have known about it
like,
if it hadn't been for him. Yeah.
While I agree, it was very well done, there still needs to be a consistent reminder leading up to an event of like time, where you can watch it, all that stuff. And there hasn't been much of that. Like normally you get hit with those and you're very well aware of like when the game's going on.
No, you're right.
They're like,
you have to be very, your circle has to be very MLS centric for you to even just for you to be aware that there is a game on tonight. Right.
I think we're getting away from like my what I'm about to say is getting away from like that issue there, but like that I think is on the contracts with all these TV channels that they have deals with. Where if I am CBS, right, and I've got a deal with NWSL and I've got a deal with MLS for some games, or I think ABC, whatever, they already know they're going to get the attraction of the soccer fan who watches MLS and whatever. If they have to invest a whole lot of marketing to get other people who aren't interested for something that right now is a small return for them, there's not a lot of reason for them to do that investment. If they already have these investments in other sports, they're basically just beating themselves up. So it with this growing league issue, it's a hard business calculus for these guys to say, hey, we need to force ourselves to spend more for these rights that we already know that the audience is intrinsic and built in already. So why should we market if these people already know when the game is and when they're going to be there?
So similar to like now, like bring that into ownership. You've got up until one point you had the New Englands, you had certain clubs that wouldn't invest into their team at all because they had their core base, and they were like, we're fine being mid-table, we're fine, we're good, we don't have to throw money at this. But then obviously different teams started breaking the mold a little bit. Now everything's getting a little more competitive. But I think, what was it? Apple TV it might take over all the rights next year.
I think they're still definitely in conversation. Yeah.
Okay. And so, I guess that's the difference between streamlined versus your a la carte options, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no problem. Birmingham's this weird area where we're technically in market for Atlanta and Memphis and New Orleans and I think Nashville. So every time I try to watch something on a regional, I was going to say
you must be geo-blocked like crazy.
I have to get on a VPN every time I want to watch anything. It's crazy.
I still don't know how to use a VPN. Everyone uses one. Everyone's just like, VPN win today, and I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is a VPN?
No, but it's I forgot where I was going with that.
That's okay. No, it's a fair point. We're seeing a lot of budgetary choices, I think, in my opinion, this year that I haven't seen across MLS in a while. And I think that is in response to the absolute wash of budget that they had for 2020 and 2021. I think that they lost a lot of money those 2 years, and they're trying to recap these things by maybe putting a little less money certain places. Sure. As a side note, I went ahead and put the link in the friend zone. So if somebody would like to jump in, I will have the ultimate authority to decide to let you in or not. Felipe just messaged and said he will not be able to make it.
He's scared of you, Will.
He said, I really wanted to shut Will down.
No, he's afraid. He's afraid. He's scurdy.
He's scared.
What a little punk.
He is scared. But yes, if anybody wants to join, please enter in the link. I'm going to have the boys continue talking because I believe I have to actually put it in the link in YouTube and not through the platform I'm going through, so somebody can actually be able to click the link so they don't have to copy and paste. So give me a second. One thing I will want to say, though, is let's talk about something that happened on Twitter today, which I'm going to get Annabelle in here in a second because he wants to join. So I'm just going to send him the link directly. But there was a particular person that was called out on Twitter today, and I feel like a lot of people would agree with the reason he was called out. Do we want to go into that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll take the lead.
This is Annabelle was the one who got traction on it. I have stopped reading this individual's content just because over years it's just been horrific. I mean, everything from him is just garbage. And I think it's gotten to be such a weird point now where he's going after like people are seeing the trend of the type of players he's going after. And it's just very, I'm not going to call him a specific thing. No, it's the same. But
it's the same every time.
And so the wife of, it's Marcelino Moreno's wife, went on had a long thing where she basically was like y'all are treating my family as garbage, and like these are human beings who are players this game, and we hear it's part of the game, part of that pressure, but like, you know, and we heard it. I think it was 2018. McCann's wife said something very similar. She was at a bar, supporter group watch party. Yeah.
Yep.
And people were talking.
Was it Trains talking in front of her? I want to say
probably.
I want to say
it definitely could have
been. This young man and or woman with long hair. I couldn't tell.
I get so confused. I get so confused because I saw for the longest time the avatar definitely looked like a woman, and I was like, okay.
It's 2022. No judgment. You know, no judgment.
But yeah, no. I
shout out Trains, has a kid now. Got a Dragon Ball Z themed room. Pretty cool.
Hey-o.
But going back to the Doug thing, devil's advocate here. I get why he's doing it. He picks. I mean, he may not be a good reporter. I guess it's subjective, but it's one of those. He knows how to get those clicks. He'll say he knows exactly what to do to get your clicks. And the one thing he's been consistent on, sure, South American players, but it's also the same South American players that are getting paid the most money, right? And I'm not sure in any other sport you can literally do this. It's always the higher paid athletes that will get the most scrutiny, right? So I get it. Now I've got him muted. I don't see anything besides unless someone quote tweets or something. But even though he's muted, I do see his articles pop up. And so I get what he's doing. I don't know why he's singling out a certain player, especially a player that has been probably the most consistent in Pineda's system, right? The one who's actually doing the most.
I mean, and you talk about pay. He's a TAM guy. He's not a DP. Like, so if you're going to go after, if he has to go after someone who's being paid a lot of money.
Was he brought down though? Wasn't he brought in?
So he was brought in as a DP, but that was the mechanism to bring him in, and the plan was always to buy him down.
Right. Okay,
right. So it was that slot they had to use in order to get, and then until they got rid of, I forget whose salary it was, and then they had that extra TAM money, and then they brought him down. Mm-hmm. So he was never intended. It's the same thing that Alan Franco was. Clearly not a DP.
No.
But it was a TAM money availability thing where he had to come in that role, and they bought him down.
Right.
But they're not. I don't remember him going after Barco. I don't remember him going after Joseph. I don't remember him going after Thiago so far, or Araujo.
LGB pity, and he said some things about McCann.
I mean, I remember a time we also talked about Almiron. Like,
yeah,
I can't say anything about pity because I think all of a sudden Ron is going to come up on the chat and be like,
well, I mean, like, again, the link is in the chat, guys. You can click on that and join us for a little bit of conversation. I'm not asking you guys to stay here forever, but I'd love to get some people in to have a chat with all of us.
Yeah,
but he's more, to me, when he first when this all started, it was great that we had, somebody that was particularly slotted to do Atlanta United from a newspaper sense. Like, that's great for the city, and it's great. And like, we talk about how important that is, especially when you think about Conti and Longshore and the fact that they do a radio show, and like, that's unusual in certain. Piper, I love you. Go away. Unusual in certain like areas. But then, when he first came on, he's a beat writer, right? So you're expecting him to giving facts and like play-by-play of the game and like what they're seeing. And then, ever since I would say maybe mid last year, maybe beginning of last year, he started writing more opinion pieces. And it just comes off as strange because I don't go to him for opinion. I go to him for facts and what's going on and like who's injured and like all this other stuff. Oh, ayo.
Unbelievable.
What's up? Bro, I look rough. I'm just doing this because the podcast was low-key boring, so I had to jump in.
Oh,
wow.
Wow. Well, if Felipe hadn't been so afraid, it would have been a lot spicier.
I'm not afraid. What have you guys talked to? I've missed the last 5 minutes.
What? Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite Atlanta beat writer?
Oh, Doug, 100%. That man.
So going off,
get engagement.
I told you he loves his clicks. But going off of what Sean just said, the perception that he's one of the guys, like the big guys, he wears like
Just walking on the
he's
field.
the number 10, like right. And like you were saying, Kelly, he's been writing a lot more opinion pieces, but we do go to him for facts. The thing is, he is not being factual on what Marcelino's doing. That's the thing. Like like.
Oh, like he's our top scorer and assistant, and he sucks.
It's just one of those things where I'm like. Just it's weird. It's weird.
My favorite part of the past weekend was he had 4 tweets in a row of like, again, Marcelino tries to dribble. He messes up. Again, Marcelino misses a guy who has clear route to the goal. Again, he passed it too late. And then the next tweet is goal. Marcelino Moreno.
Yeah, goal. It was such a dry tweet too. Like it was just like goal.
Yeah, and that all of a sudden he turns back into a beat writer. He's like, the ball entered the premise of the net behind the line, and it was touched last by Marcelino Moreno.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, this leads into a question. Then it's like, one, the point of the conversation was because of this writing and because of the continuous attack. I can't speak today. The attacks that he's been doing, or the writing that he's been doing against Marcelino Moreno, has caused some fans to take it upon themselves to harass and to say something to actual family members or relatives of a player. And that is where a line is clearly way stepped over. It's while it, maybe I'll just pass this over. So, Annabelle, you shared a image today from an Instagram story of Marcelino Moreno's wife, and she clearly said that it's. I'll let you take over. What did you do?
What did I do? I did nothing. I just farted in the elevator and left.
What he does every single day.
No, okay, so I guess like to paraphrase, I don't have it in front of me, but basically she basically said that fans or media don't really know what players go through, what the struggles they go through, and they should like basically just think of what they're saying before they say it, think of what they're going through, kind of stuff like that. And like you were saying, like Doug is a beat writer for us or whatever, but most of his things now is just like he finds one player and just goes after them for whatever reason. I guess we'll never know unless he tells us, but he just nonstop. He just picks a scapegoat, and he does the same thing with Pity when he was here. And some can say he had a reason for that. It is what it is, but it's just it opens doors. It opens doors. Like if people see, a beat writer, a person in media is coming after a player, then I can do it. Like it's a lot.
So there with your tweet, I think it was mostly. I think it was solely directed at media, because then I started seeing people go off of your tweet saying, saying people like shouldn't be messaging the family, like fans shouldn't be messaging the family, and I'm sure it happens, but I personally didn't see anything of that. I didn't see that brought to light in any of her messages. So I was just like, is that like what are you? What are we?
Well, the thing is, like, but that's the thing though too. Like, when I tweeted what I tweeted, like, I didn't say, oh, this is because of Doug. Like, I didn't say Doug. Like, I didn't mention his name at all. But everyone put the pieces together.
Yeah, but it took 2 seconds because
But that's what I'm saying though.
But
you know what I'm saying? But you get what I'm saying though. Like, it's like if it's that quick that people could just understand who I'm really talking about. Like, there's a pattern, and it's not okay. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, it just leads to other problems. Like, whether people are coming at the family or not, the fact that the wife felt the need to say something like that, to basically the public is saying a lot.
I agree with you, because if they're not already doing it, a tweet or a hit piece like that would embolden some fans to get the courage to actually do it, to start doing it, and that'll snowball, and that could get problematic, right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, there was a comment that was so. Your tweet was retweeted and other conversations spurred off of that. But there was also a conversation that led into somebody that's related to the physio or physios, like the people who are the actual physio staff, being like, hey, we're also getting attacked when it's clearly not our problem. Like, well, it's their problem, but it's like not their, like they didn't.
I'll be one of the first people to say, every time one of these things comes out, my first thought is just fire the physio. So like, I'm not directing anybody by name, but it's fair, right?
Yeah, but you don't have that pull that like.
I don't have the clout. I'm not a face of Atlanta United.
Not the clout. I'm just saying, like, but this stuff like gets printed and goes online to like hundreds and thousands of people. Who knows?
Not even print. Like it's online and it's also in paper. Like Doug is also printed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot more people have access to what Doug says than your tweet. Your story, you know what I'm saying? So it's a different dynamic. It's just we can say whatever we're fans, like, but don't make it personal is what I'm kind of like.
Thank you for calling that out, D-Mac. 2 people on this podcast did say fire the physios. So
right on the bottom.
I like to call that out.
I mean, right here. But also, like, all right. So if we want to get on that, if you want to talk about the injuries,
this is open. We're open.
Great, perfect transition. Because I am not in science. I am not in sports science. I am in Excel sheets. And numbers,
I have a doctorate in sports. No, I'm just kidding.
Fantastic. Then you can answer why 7 starters have been injured. I mean, like, and I don't know how we have never had an Achilles injury in my remembrance until this season, and all of a sudden in 2 weeks we have 2 keepers who go out with the same injury. Like, to me, there's a lot of coincidence. It's just like, what is happening, man? And I don't know if it's
just that simple.
It's not, though. I mean, because think about Tata's training that everyone talked about was so intense and so crazy, and we had injuries. We had bunches of injuries, but it was never at the level where it is now, where it's all happening at the same time. And I don't know. I don't know from a front office perspective. I don't know if that physios come and go with the manager or what, or if that's like the front office and they just stay there. I want to say that the guy who helped rehab Joseph's knee has been there for a long time, to the point where I like recognized him when he hugged him. But I don't know if the majority of that team comes and goes, but it's just something weird is going on. And it could be that it's this brand new turf and it's not as good, like, because they just replaced it this season for the stadium, but it should be the same thing. It's just so weird. It's all happening.
Was it the back of Keats? He tore his Achilles on grass. The training ground's grass, right?
Like, he didn't do it playing. He did it on training. So it's been, whether you like turf or not, like, as far as like the feel of turf, I read somewhere with with Mercedes-Benz, like we have like the best turf money can buy.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
it's
the most
really
realistic. Really the most real feel to. Better than grass, they say. So
it's not. I'm sorry. It's fine. I've walked on it as we get like TIFO stuff set up, but it's still turf. Like it's not better than grass. It's not station soccer, but
neither. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
See, station soccer was great grass.
That's also turf, you idiot. I'm literally on it right now.
Yeah, how's that feel? Is that you feel like your Achilles is gonna pop?
Yeah, my Achilles is gone.
Let's not put that juju on him.
Yeah, please. I'm literally about to play in
Like
10
he
minutes.
is my
If I
keeper
play
for
happens-
Sunday. We're not
If it
gonna do
happens, fire me.
Bro,
He scored a
gonna
brace
fire-
for us on Sunday.
I did.
that. Did you?
Mhm.
Wait,
Yeah.
were you playing? Not like
He was
keeper?
yeah, he was playing.
But we have the Saturday.
Ripped
So they
one.
need to be-
Ripped
Oh,
one
the
from
Sheffield
mid-
Saturday
Sheffield
that plays on
Saturday,
Sunday.
yeah.
See, that's
So,
something I want to go into. When are we going to get Green Street Hooligans like fight like between Sheffield Saturday, Sheffield?
Well, we have our
like,
derby at the end of the season.
Yeah. Someone's gonna die, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's gonna be intense.
It
They're
might be
gonna
me,
start
who
selling
knows?
tickets to it and maybe have somebody peddling beers on the side for
That would be
enter-
fun.
Yeah,
I might be able
For
to
the
make it for
kids.
that.
For the kids.
Fun.
for the kids. It's for the kids.
Do it for the kids.
For the kids.
Bring the flares.
But what look, the coincidence is stupid. It's
Mhm.
the fact that we do have as many starters as we have that are out with injuries, and it seems like it's a perpetual line of like they get healthy enough to come back and then they have to leave again because of a restrain or something. Like it does seem like a little of the fault lies on the physios. However, I will also say that as an athlete, you're coming off of playing a not so normal year, and then they're shoving in a lot of playing time before a very large tournament at the end of the year. So it might just be burnout, or it might just be that their bodies aren't used to maybe the full stress of a regular season. But
Well-
I mean,
well,
that's go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't know. I was just saying, like you were saying, like the whole pandemic threw everything off too. Like there's condensed schedules after condensed schedules. There's games canceled. There was just a whole bunch of like uncertainty, and it was kind of like tough for players to stay fit because you never knew when you were going to play, when or this and that, and yeah,
Yeah. All right. So let's imagine we have no injuries, right?
Mhm.
And everyone is at form that's expected. Let's say like Joseph aside, because we don't know what his form is now, right? Where are the gaps? Because I think that like we still have gaps, and I think that's Didi in the chat said, does Boca deserve some blame for the poor results of the last couple of years?
Yeah.
Like absolutely, man. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's. I mean, between
I think there is something to be said though that the depth is really good this year. I still think there are depth issues in certain positions.
Oh,
as
depth
a striker.
issues. In some areas, our depth is great. Midfield, like, oh my god, we've got like a billion.
Let's just be
players.
happy we haven't called Mikey Ambrose up yet. Let's just be happy that has
Yeah, I mean, like I was.
I mean, he's on the bench.
I was I was able to
He's playing
join.
tonight?
Is he playing tonight in the
He's
twos?
in
For the
Twos,
twos,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I was able to join Home Before Dark on Monday this week, which was super nice to like go hang out with
What's
those
that?
guys. Home Before Dark is a podcast. Don't do that, Persy. Really great podcast. Check them out every
who's on
Monday.
there?
They're wonderful.
Who's on there?
I'm not. You guys stop that.
Who's on there?
Anyway, one
I'm
of the
legitimately
conversations we were
wondering.
having, Tim, Herb, Kevin, Dan,
Dan James.
Dan
If you
James.
ever are needed some really good facts, just get yourself and your body prepared for the Dan load, because he'll just download all the facts all over you.
I get my facts from Doug, so I don't need that. I think so.
Anyway, we were having a conversation, and the basically Mikey Ambrose came up, and I was like, oh, I totally forgot that we even have the Boy Scout on our team right now, which is, again, I think that's a quality to the fact that our depth is as good as it is, and kind of lucky that we haven't had, knock on wood, injuries in that position. So.
But kind of like so what is that optimal starting 11 without injuries? Because like it's Guzan. I feel like he's such a wash one way or the other, because he'll have some just howlers of bad mistakes, and he'll also have some ridiculous like, how did you possibly stop that? So he's.
I mean, that's every goalie though, isn't it?
But for his price, he should be better than that, in my opinion.
He's the most expensive. He's the most. Well, I guess until the restructure, he's the most expensive keeper.
Yeah, we don't know what his salary is now, but it is awesome for him to.
I think he's at $700 a year, I believe, right now.
After the restructure.
After the restructure,
what was it before?
Because I think it was 1.1. or
Really?
1.2 or something like that.
He was a
he
mil.
and Jurgen Damm.
Yeah.
I mean, he was our keeper for MLS Cup, so I don't understand what you guys are like saying that he can't play in big games.
I'm not. I didn't say he
I'm
can't
just
play
saying-
big
but-
games. I'm saying he's getting older.
I'm just
and
saying,
you
as
need
far
to,
as but I mean, as far as leadership, too, like who we have as far as leaders right now, too. Like even if Joseph comes back, even if
no one's currently no one is that voice. I was
what I'm
hoping
saying, though.
Sosa could have been the voice, but
I think it was going to be
who's-
Ozzy. I mean, Ozzy
I
was
mean,
the
Ozzy
voice,
was
right?
the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was
I mean,
the
we don't-
Rubenowitz. I thought
don't
that
have a
was a
captain right now.
perfect. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think that I have issues. Not issues. That's a strong word. I struggle seeing Miles as the captain because
He's
there was
very
some.
soft-spoken.
He's
He's a
soft-spoken.
placeholder. He's not.
When he's not next to a veteran to be able to kind of provide him a little more like confidence, he struggles, and that's where that Alan Franco Miles combination this year has been off. And I go back to Franco, like he had that great end of the year last year, and everyone was hoping that he's not reverting back to the mean. I think it's starting to look like that was more of an exception than the actual like form of Franco, because he has not been great.
Right.
It's been this year has not been his year, which is not a good thing. And it is sort of, when you go back, and I know that, we have a chat for this podcast, but Odette said like it almost feels like we got a clone of Franco, and that Franco has been kidnapped and he's somewhere else, because the Franco we knew last season is not the Franco we're seeing this season.
Is he in there?
Is he in the porta potty?
No, I got a picture of Doug. It's me and Doug. Take a selfie.
Oh, Lord, Annabelle.
For the audio listeners, Annabelle is pointing to
Yes,
a porta
thank
potty.
you, Will. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I forgot this is a podcast too.
Yeah,
I thought you were hanging out with Guzan.
Oh wow. Okay.
All right.
MLS Cup was 3.5 years ago.
It is, but we've also won trophies since then. So with Goose, I'm just saying, like, Goose wasn't the problem. Goose, you can blame Goose for certain plays and stuff, but we weren't losing because of Goose. It was.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you're losing because of him. I'm saying that he's not. I don't think he's performing at that level for a goalkeeper at that salary, and I think that because of the back line in front of him, he's not getting any assistance.
Salary aside, like we didn't.
You never mess with a man's pockets, right? You never ask what But at the same time, you've got a Copa America finalist in the goal for Orlando City at, I guess before the restructure, $700,000 less than Guzan. This dude,
I mean, get a better agent. I don't understand what you guys are like talking about money. It comes down to who does the deals. Like
because it's Boca.
So then we'll go back to Double D. We'll go back to Double D's comment.
And what is Orlando? What does Orlando want with Galisi? What have they won with him?
Gallese. Come on, man.
Gallese, I'm sorry.
I'm white as hell, and I know how to pronounce that better than you.
It's Orlando. I don't care. I'm just saying, what have they won with him? Nothing. So, like, I don't understand.
Aren't they second?
What's the point
in the
of the
East
position?
Right now?
You know what I love so much is that Felipe's not even here, but this is still
Nine.
getting contentious. I like it. I like it.
It's because Eddie's standing up for bums just because he's a goalkeeper.
I know you, but you're bringing up Gillespie like he's done anything. He hasn't won anything.
All right. I don't.
He's getting paid when he's getting paid.
But you got to also look at what I'm saying is you've got the quality. You got the quality in net. You got the quality in, but he didn't have anything before that. He's just now getting a team. And I think are they second in the East now?
Annie, I'm not
okay, but that's recency bias. That's not any.
Goose was also a U.S. men's national team goalkeeper, played in World Cups.
He literally wore his kit that I'm wearing.
Was he playing for U.S. men's national team aside from being a sub when he joined us?
Yeah, I mean, he was but he's still.
Yeah, no, he played in the Gold Cup a couple times.
Tim Howard, clearly better goalkeeper for U.S. men's national team at the time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay. I was going to say win.
He's still he still played for run-ups.
Even back then, Goose was still referred to as the wily vet that you're bringing in to mentor the other keepers. Like he wasn't starting.
He played in the Prem. Like I don't understand how else you want. I don't.
But Annie, that's the point.
No,
is like these players age, and what's hard for us to look back on is like.
But that's why he's getting
for those of us who have been around this team since 2017. That was 5 years ago. This is the 6th season.
Listen,
So,
I was on the train of why do we get rid of Khan for nothing? We
I
literally got
completely
nothing
agree.
for it.
We got nothing, and
we
I
would
think
we would literally be okay right now if we never got rid of him. All we had to do was sign his option.
I think I'm completely on board with you on that. I think that was a stupid loss. I think Khan was a great backup.
He's proving it for Cincy now. So
he had some issues at the very beginning of the season. But I think again it's also the back line that's in front of him is garbage, right? So clearly they're looking at
you got Devin coming in saying that Andy said he played for the Prem for Middlesbrough and shitty Villa.
That's literally both those teams can beat any MLS team. Like I don't understand.
But again,
what are you saying?
Like age is a factor, and if you think about like Joseph in 2017 versus Joseph now, don't even think about the ACL or anything. But like that's a player that's been around now for 6 years, and after a while, like you got to start looking at what's that next step, and that's where I think that our front office has failed horribly because Cisneros. Dom Dwyer, who is the next guy for that role?
No one.
I mean, the rumors about Hoppy. I mean, the rumors about Hoppy are great. Like, great, awesome, let's do that. But then what happens after that? You've got veteran Joseph. Yeah, we did nothing.
Yeah.
We did nothing.
We did nothing.
No,
it wasn't gonna happen. Hoppy wasn't gonna happen.
But I mean, so that's why they're throwing everything at the wall with Goose because they brought Rocco back. They have Shuttlesworth. They have they sign Garces or is he back on the twos?
I think Garces is with the twos.
But like they just
Novo is the backup right now from Shuttlesworth.
They throw money at people and it doesn't make any sense. Think about Jurgen Damm, right? And I know that all the years of Pity Martinez versus Emerson Hyndman, whatever. But like think about Emerson Hyndman's contract. Like even if he's equal. Even if he's equal to Nagby, which he wasn't, he's way overpaid. I mean, so these contracts, and again, I understand for a Joseph contract for 5 years, he won every trophy he could have in 2018. So like, hell yeah,
had the best season ever. Like he deserves
all the money at it. Yeah. But now that's clearly like you didn't take into account that he could tear his ACL, and he's fine now. I mean, we haven't seen him this year really.
Made of glass.
So I have problems with our front office, especially with Bocanegra on the deals that are being made, because we're just throwing money at things that don't make a whole lot of sense, and then with the hope that we're going to find some wily young cheap guy who's going to make it to Premier League in 2 years. Like Miggy's not going to happen again. Let's just get all of that in our heads. We're not going to find
another Miguel. Shut your mouth.
Tell Kelly that. Kelly's the only one pushing that.
You shut your mouth, sir.
We're not going to find another Miguel Almiron. It's not going to happen.
You shut your mouth.
He's a pace merchant anyway, man.
Almada is.
So is Jurgen Damm, and like he was garbage. Oh yes, I think Almada is the closest thing that we've had. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Mm-hmm.
So Carl said, we are a fan base that started with success. Things are now unraveling, and we are throwing our toys out of the pram. I think there's some truth in that. It's a very loaded explanation of how he feels, which, again, I think it's valid. But, I mean, there is a lot of ways that when we look at the old squads that we had, it made sense. The players were structured to work with each other in the system, and it feels like we're trying to fit a lot of random pieces that have been acquired over the years into something that was not built for them. So, I feel like what I was expecting at the beginning of the season, and I still think, again, we're 9 games into
we're still early.
9 games or 10 games now into the season?
9.
9 games into the season.
You're almost a third of the way through the season. It's not that early.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, we're still somehow above the playoff line teams.
Yes, we're somehow above the playoff line. But like Kelly, like I think that the validity in that statement is that we had an amazing 2018, and it changed the league, right? Like quite honestly, it changed the league. LAFC copied us. They did it not better, but they did it almost quite as well, and everyone's kind of copied that. The problem I think that we've had is that we were like, oh, that's the measure of success. We have to find a right winger who can run down the side and then bomb in crosses to Joseph. Brooks does a lot of crosses, so let's just do that. He's not Gressel.
To who?
I mean, well, and that's the exact same thing.
But when you look at the stats, he's better than Gressel when we're talking about accuracy of crosses.
Except for the goals
number.
Right? And so Gressel isn't good without Joseph. Joseph is not as good as he was with Gressel. So that pairing, they broke up. It's a stupid thing to do. It was a flex from Bocanegra to say, you're not going to boss me around. And all of a sudden, you destroy your best goal-making duo. Like that is stupid business and stupid front office garbage.
Gressel said it even in his own podcast that he didn't want to leave Atlanta. I think he talked to Felipe too, that he didn't want to leave Atlanta. Like there was no reason for him to leave. He was offered more money and they left.
We're just trying to copy that, and then when it's not working, we say this isn't as fun, so we're going to fire Frank de Boer, or we've lost a lot, and that's not fun, so we're going to fire Heinze. And I'm really hoping we're now at how many on like that we haven't won in a row with Pineda. Like
I think it's like
that we haven't won.
I think it's like we've gone like
2 in a row,
like 3 or 4 winless.
I think it's 4.
I think
and then
we literally scored. We only scored 4 goals this last month. So
yeah, and some people gave me flack for this, but like I still think of it's important. And if you take out the goals that we score after the 90th minute, clutch, lucky, whatever you call it, the only game that we've decisively won was February 27th. So I really hope that we get half of the season and people aren't starting to say Pineda out, because then you're going to be this group of just inconsistent,
constantly,
managers.
Who's going to want to come coach here? I mean, at that point, they're going to be like, this guy's not. They're not giving you enough time.
Rob Valentino,
I like Valentino. I like
we played very good with him,
right? Yeah. And I like Devin's comment, just this last one, where he gives a perfect comparison. Bocanegra is absolutely Thomas Dimitrov. Is just literally just throwing everything he can for like a win now, not really seeing if it's going to gel, if it's going to fucking stick together. Yeah, and then once he's out, he's going to leave that fucking franchise to shit. It already is.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of. But, I mean, I don't see Boca staying around. But, he got an extension. Fuck.
He did get an extension.
Yeah,
and that's what everyone was just shocked of, like what? And honestly, it was the Araujo transfer, because Araujo came on and he was exciting and everyone was reinvigorated in the fan base. I almost wanted that transfer to be a dud because I thought it was going to be longer, or it was going to be better in the long run, because Boca was going to be out and we were going to have someone else come in. Like it's just draw. If we have one good transfer out of every 6, like that's not good.
Okay, I hear what you guys are saying, but my counter to this is we also have there. So while the pieces don't fit, and mind you, I said that myself, there is still a lot of positives to the team in the sense that we can still remain above the playoff line because of the depth of our squad, which is something that can be comparable to something that Bocanegra did over the offseason, is work on the depth of the squad, because that was one of our biggest issues last year, was lack of depth. So while I agree there have been some questionable, as a term, questionable decisions with players, there also should be a light to say that, hey, we did improve one of our biggest issues last year, which was lack of depth.
Sure. I mean, if you want to put that in the win column, absolutely. But, then it goes to like, now we're where we were top 3 in, goals scored with Joseph right there. Now our finishing is there is no finishing, right? And so these stats are being thrown around like, yes, we have possession. Yes, we can do this. Yes, we can do that. But we're still losing, man.
Well, what was the defender from Montreal? It was like, yeah, they'll have a lot of possession. We'll give them 70% possession, and then we'll wait for a corner kick, and they'll put it in the back of the net.
Yeah,
he's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, he straight up called it out. Yeah.
He's right. That's what
that was their game plan. Yeah, was just to allow themselves to get set pieces, because then they're in the opportunity to score a goal.
I don't think we're very tall though in that aspect. For like the set pieces,
we're not. We're a very short team.
No, Miles, George. Those are your 2 big defenders in the back.
Maybe 60.
And that's it. I mean, Joseph can get up, but then that means that you're bringing your one striker all the way to the back.
Oh, to the. Got it.
Annabelle.
What?
Hold on.
On that note, I'm out. I'm about to
Bye, Annie. Love you,
Good
buddy.
luck in the game, man.
Bye.
See you, man.
See ya.
Pray for my Achilles.
Well, now that Will
He doesn't have the same physio. He's fine.
definitely cursed
Yeah.
you. Knock on wood.
Wait, exit me out because I don't know how.
I will exit you out. Okay, bye. Odette, it took Alex Ferguson a few years to find success with Manchester United, truly, until he signed Cantona over Shearer.
I don't follow any European soccer. So.
Oh, me neither, man. I haven't watched any of the Champions League. And I feel like an imposter because of it, but it's the middle of the workday.
I tuned in the last 10 minutes today for extra time, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Basically, she's saying managers need time, even when they aren't doing well, and it takes time to implement stuff.
Yes,
right.
100%.
But that's the thing with Arthur Blank. I mean, you could go if we're going to do like a little Falcons crossover. He literally rewarded Dan Quinn for being mediocre. Like he kept Dan Quinn around because of loyalty, right? And if he's going to, I personally don't think he had anything to do with the firing of any of our last coaches. I think it was Darren or Boca because that dude, Arthur, say what you will, but he will be in your corner no matter what, to the point where it starts fucking being terrible for the damn team.
For his employees.
But
I think
it's also it could be a negative. It could be a negative.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think honestly, Darren does his fun little Trainee McTrain face stuff, but I feel like he has such a clear vision of what he wants the team to be, and that is entertaining. Is the let's put it all on the thing. This team and soccer in general is supposed to be an entertaining piece of your life, right? Whether we're talking about it on the podcast, whether you're going to go see it, whether you're going to go to a bar. If the team is either just awful and terrible to watch, it's not entertaining. If it's a terrible relationship with the community, or you're not getting the content, or people aren't going to be able to be involved and see people getting cakes in the faces, whatever, like that's not the vision that Darren had. And I think that's why, like after the comments Heinz had made, he was like, you're gone. Like absolutely not. And I think that DeBoer, people were getting boring. They were bored of his style. And then when he got just trucked in the bubble tournament, it was
the bubble tournament. Go ahead.
I'll read it. You're going to tell Kelly, who cried on MLS Cup night, to be patient for the slow build. No way.
No, you can't. You can't. I mean, we cannot be patient.
I'm pretty sure I was not the only one crying that night.
I don't think that was a dig at you.
First off,
I don't think that was a dig at you.
I think it was a dig.
No. I think what he's saying is you're
going to tell someone that can get that passionate about something that they need to be patient? No way.
For a team that was there for 2 years, right?
You're not going to tell someone that got to that level, a team that got to that elite tier so quick.
I'm still here, aren't I? I'm still doing podcast, even when it's been a shitty 3 seasons.
And it's exactly. So like the people that are committing their time and their lives to this, like, I'll be perfectly honest. It's not easy driving and leaving my family and coming 2 hours to Atlanta and doing everything and coming back at the end of the day and being exhausted and doing that. I'm not going to be patient to watch garbage soccer. I don't have time for that. Like, and I love the team, but it's patience. Asking fans to be patient since 2019 is not the best way to go about the business.
No, and the thing is, we are just such a naive group, because they'll be like, boom, $16 million signing, boom, coach that has Prem history, boom, just like, boom, distraction, squirrel, and we buy into it. We buy into
Literally,
it, and so we're like, okay, yeah, let's go.
That's because we want to, right? We want what we had, and we feel like we're not getting that. So,
and I think
we feel like we can get back to it, we accept it.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes back to the original point we were talking about of where is the luster gone or whatever, right? And I think it's because we had these expectations, and it was a terrible first impression, but DeBoer was right. We were spoiled with 2018. We were spoiled with 2017 because that was a fun team to watch. It was so much fun. And then we saw 2018 and everything was crazy and bumping and partying, and we had a great time. We would play games that were 4-3 and just absurd, whatever.
The fan base would have been worse. I just want to point this out. I wonder if the fan base would be better or worse had we repeated. We would have been worse. We would have been in a complete downward spiral. If we were at where we were at now and also won, or, basically, if we would have won in 2019, we would have been, I think we would have been worse than Seattle fans.
In worse in what way?
Just in the sense that, like, it's kind of
like fair weather or like obnoxious or
I don't know if fair weather, but I think it's the point of like, had we, and to be fair, we won trophies after we won the MLS Cup. So, I mean, like, in some ways, what he's saying has already happened, but I still think that it would have been more of an emotional crux for us now. And there would have been more chaos had we have been in the position where we had won 2 cups back to back and had it been where we're at now. I still don't think it justifies us being where we're at now. That's not where I'm getting at. I'm just.
Can you highlight Brian's comment, please? So he says we have to also take into fact that since Atlanta United came onto the scene, MLS has improved top to bottom, which is absolutely true. It has gotten so much more competitive. You've got the likes of Nashville, you've got Austin, you've got all these teams, and it was LAFC. It inevitably gets harder, right? And that's a great thing for parity, for the sport. But would we be a worse fan base? 1,000,000%, because you already have these shitty, terrible fan bases in Nashville. Not terrible, they're great. There's a lot of them. But you've got these like arrogant, fucking just people in Charlotte,
Denzel, Travis.
Oh my God, they're terrible, and they haven't won shit. They have
but that's insufferable, right? I think Alex said it right. More insufferable, and I agree. I think that we would be more obnoxious than we already are, which is a pretty high level of obnoxiousness. I think worse. Let's talk fair weatherness. Like, I think that if we kept winning 2019, gone through 2020, you would have had people, instead of coming for the post MLS Cup hype and party, then they would have maybe enjoyed the team. Maybe they would have bought in. Maybe they would have brought more people in. But because of how things went with 2019, which was a little like, it was good. We obviously won trophies. There's no complaining that. But the problem with DeBoer was that the play style wasn't entertaining. So you'd go and you would party and you kind of try to get that magic from 2018. And the play was boring. You didn't have Miguel Almiron streaking up the middle of the field with the touch that everyone was like, what's going to happen? It was very structured and boring. 2020 messed up.
2018, you did cocaine for the first time, and every other year after that, you're trying to chase that same damn high.
I wouldn't know anything about that. No.
Neither would I. It's what I read on the internet. I'm just saying.
But I think I do want to pull this up. Dee says something that I think is very crucial, because it's something that we had in our back pocket, particularly with the Benz, right? You came into the Benz, it was a fortress. People knew that when they came into that stadium, that it was going to be a hard game to play, and that the likelihood that they would leave with a loss was high. But now we're at this point where it really does feel like there is no team that's afraid to play Atlanta anymore, because
they're not.
They're just not the same threat level like they used to be, which I think is a huge loss for our opportunities to go into places and really carry that weight. We're losing the respect, in my opinion, from other teams, but also most importantly, we're losing the allure of national broadcast, which is huge for us. That's money and exposure.
Yeah. No,
I was just going to say they're not even fouling us like they used to. They used to foul us a lot because we were scared. I mean, you figured Almada would be right there and take his place to get just trampled. They're not big. But,
okay. Almada's strategy is not to get fouled, right? Barco's strategy was to get up the field, get somewhere outside of the 18, do something fancy so he can get fouled, set up for this repetitive free kick he would do every time, and it would always get saved. That was Barco's game. And I think he's a great player. He did that very, very well. He got very, very predictable, and I never felt that magic when he had the ball, because you knew what he was trying to do every time. But that's a different rant, and I don't know.
All right. As we're closing out the night, are there any last points that we want to sort of get on the table? I know that Felipe was not able to join us, unfortunately. So
Just terrified. He was
Felipe,
terrified of the
you let
dance.
down the audience. They all came expecting a yelling / conversational match between Will and come on, man. You had the opportunity.
Do I win this one by default and I'll have to come
You
on for
win.
another time?
No, that's
I think
actually that's a win.
That's a
that's
W.
win. Yeah,
Let's
he
eat one.
forfeited. He forfeited.
He was scared.
I look forward to you saying this on Twitter and it causing an issue. So we'll do
For
a
sure.
rematch at some point in time.
No, and I think, honestly, I think that would be great because I think one of the interesting things that Felipe has a perspective on, I have a very different perspective on, is supporter groups and just what that role is in the stadium. Because I know that y'all are not. I think Katie or Kelly, Jesus, I've had no sleep.
It's okay.
I feel like you've been in at least like all of them at one point or another, right?
I got around.
Yeah.
Heyo.
Where's Annabelle? And Persy, you've never been in one.
No, I've never been in.
So y'all have different views on it. Felipe clearly has his own view as well. I have my own view. That I think is an interesting, its own conversation I think to have.
Yeah, the reason I've never joined is because I don't live ITP. So getting down there for events or volunteer work is just I would really be going out of my way.
Yeah.
And
I hear you.
it's just, but I also just don't want to. I get enough of the screenshots and stuff that gets sent into chats that probably shouldn't be, and I'm just like, damn, I'm kind of happy I'm not part of that bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I think the drama, at least in Resurgence, is died down quite a bit over time.
It's died down a lot since the drama that was in place. Right around the MLS Cup time, there was a lot going
2019
on.
Was the peak
of
it, honestly.
Yeah.
The NYCFC match. But that's
That's a different episode. Thank you so much.
So.
I know. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really hope everybody liked this. Although we only had one friend jump on, I'm still going to try to do this thing where I convince people to jump on the stream here and have a conversation with us. So I'll just continue to do that until other people actually take me up on that offer. But still super glad to have you, Will. It was wonderful to talk with you and hang out with you. And will you be at the game this weekend?
It's Mother's Day weekend. I will be celebrating here in Birmingham.
Okay. Well, we will drink in your spirit, good sir.
It's got to be Malibu. Got to be that pineapple Malibu, baby.
Hard pass. I'll imagine it. Persy, again, always thank you for tagging on and being such a great friend and almost co-host. So appreciated.
And potential husband?
Yeah, potential husband. He knows what he has to do in order for me to marry him. So he's working on that contract. So he'll figure it out.
List. It's a long list. Jesus Christ. If anybody wants to help me out, we can tackle
get some lawyers together for you. I'm sure there's some lawyers.
Persy, are you going to be at the game this weekend?
It is no, probably not. Mother's Day brunch. I have that. So more than likely no. But who knows? I might go up because I think the rest of my family's going. So who knows? I don't know. It's always last minute for me.
Yeah.
Kelly Francis going.
I am single. I am the mother of a wonderful fur baby, which will love me, and then I will go to the game. This is how I get to be able to do all the things I get to do because I just remain single, and then I can just do whatever the fuck I want. So
anyone who's married, get divorced. That Kelly said it.
That's not what I just am saying. Being single has its perks. Although I am super lonely and on the dating app.
Oh my God.
Shout out depression.
Shout out depression. I hope my therapist is not watching this because he knows about my show. So if you heard that, ignore it. I don't have depression.
If you heard that, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I can't wait to see y'all in person. So great to see y'all over podcast and chatting with everyone. And
love you, Will.
Besos.
Bye.
See you guys.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining. Again, I'm sorry that it been such a long time since I was able to do this podcast. I think it was like almost 3 weeks. But I do want to let you guys know about when the next podcast is going to be. It will actually be 2 weeks from now. I will be next week. I will be in New York for work, so it will be sort of impossible for me to do a podcast. But the following week, we will be doing a podcast. I will be releasing who the guest is because I have not figured out who that is yet. Maybe it will be my realtor because we'll be having to look at things because I'm being stupid and buying in this market right now. I don't know why. But I still hope you all will join me 2 weeks from now on Wednesday, 7 p.m. live. I look forward to having you all there. And without further ado, we out.